Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, wa man tamassaka bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Thumma amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mati al-islami wa sunnah. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the sunnah. Ya marhaban bikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's episode of Brotherly Advice, bidnillahi ta'ala, we want to give some advice to the students of knowledge. And this advice is to myself first and foremost, and to everyone who hears my voice, to every Muslim who hears my voice. Now, a person may say, well, how do we combine the two? You said for the students of knowledge, then you said for everyone who hears your voice. Now, why? Because there's not a single Muslim except that all of us should be seeking something from knowledge. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Talabul ilm fariida ala kulli Muslim." That seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim. So those things that are a individual responsibility, right, upon each and every one of us, those are the things that we have to seek knowledge about. We have to learn about them, because al-ilm qabla al-qawli wal-amal, because knowledge precedes statements and actions. So before we do things, then we have to learn about how to do it properly, so on and so forth. Now, so with that being the case, inshallah ta'ala, I want to give this advice to all of us who are seeking knowledge, which should be all of us. Now, should be all of us, right? As we just aforementioned. And that is to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help upon seeking knowledge. Now, that we ask Allah Jalla wa ala for help. Because an individual, we ourselves, we weak. Because as is known, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that there is no power, no might except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma sha Allah can, wa ma lam yasha lam yakun. Whatever Allah wills is, and whatever He does not will is not. It will never be. So it is incumbent upon us that we beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this can be seen, this is well known. Naam, because in Surah Al-Fatiha we say, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Unto you alone do we worship, and unto you alone do we seek help. So every student of knowledge, we have to seek the help and aid and assistance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we hope for any type of success, we have to beg Allah and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the success in achieving the knowledge that we are trying to achieve, and the acquisition of the knowledge that we are seeking, that He gives us the success and He blesses us with that knowledge. Now, so it is incumbent and is a must that we put our trust inside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in seeking knowledge, and in everything, in seeking knowledge and in everything that an individual they may do. As Allah ta'ala, He says in His noble book, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And whoever puts his trust in Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will be enough for him. Allah ta'ala will be the disposer of his affairs and protect him. Why? Because he put his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah ta'ala will aid and assist him, those who put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for the student of knowledge, if you want anything from success, then you have to put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'am. Allah ta'ala, He says, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And upon Allah thus put your trust if you are indeed, and if you are in fact believers. So it is a characteristic that is indicative and illustrative of the believers, that they put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the student of knowledge, bila shak wa bila rayb, is one who has to be an example of this, naam, and thus be those who put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they're trying to seek the knowledge. Because seeking knowledge is not easy. Seeking knowledge is very difficult. Seeking knowledge requires patience. Seeking knowledge requires an individual to be very diligent and have a degree of fortitude to stick in there and to strive hard, because it is something that is tremendous that we're trying to get. And those things that, as is well known, anything worth anything, then you have to put forth effort for it. And knowledge is more precious than bread and water, is more precious than food and drink. Now, it is the greatest substance, it is the greatest provision, it is the greatest rizq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives His slaves, is that He gives them knowledge about the religion, And this is important because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in His noble book, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and have knowledge that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands us to have ilm. He commands us to have knowledge. Now, and it is incumbent that an individual, a Muslim, every Muslim has to have knowledge of La ilaha illallah. Every Muslim has to know what it means. Every Muslim has to know that which is necessitated by it. Every Muslim has to know the prerequisites and the conditions of it. In order to what? In order that we actualize it. In order that we implement it. Without knowing these things, we'll be incapable of implementing it. So with that being the case now, do we better understand when we say that what? That knowledge is more important than bread and more important than water, more important than drink, more important than food. Now, this is the greatest provision in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives to the slaves, is that He gives them something from knowledge. He gives them something from ilm. And this is a sign when an individual has understanding of the religion, he has knowledge and thus understanding of the religion, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good for that person. As we know from the famous hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid din," that whoever Allah wants good for, He gives them understanding of the religion. Now, He gives them understanding, fiqh of the deen. Now, of course, having understanding of the religion, it is impossible for a person who has no knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, how are you going to understand the religion? Understand the religion based on what? Based on whims and desires? Based on assumptions and speculations? No, but the only way that we can have understanding of the religion is to have knowledge. And the only way that we're going to be able to acquire that knowledge is by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to ask Allah, beg Allah for His aid and assistance. So every student of knowledge, beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they're going to be they're going to be topics that naturally as an individual, you are talented in, your natural talents. Right? And then there are going to be other subjects that are very difficult for you. Other subjects that you may struggle in. Naam. So for those subjects that you have a natural aptitude for it, naam, alhamdulillah, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take full advantage of that. But at the same time, you can't shy away from those subjects that are difficult. You can't say, okay, I'm just not going to learn that. No, because there's some subjects that you have to learn. So if Nahu, for example, Arabic grammar is difficult, you can't say, okay, I'm just not going to learn Nahu. No, you have to learn something from Nahu. Naam, so on and so forth. وَقِسْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ, and utilize that as a frame of reference and measure accordingly. So those areas where you find difficulty in, don't give up. Those areas where you find difficulty in, don't give up. But ask Allah Ta'ala to help you. And in those areas that are easy for you, ask Allah Ta'ala to help you. Now, ask the aid and assistance from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And also, we have to put our trust inside of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and rely upon Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. That is while taking the means and taking the asbab. As the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he gave us a very, very, very beautiful and simple example that points this out perfectly. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that لو أنكم توكلون على الله حق توكله, that if you all were to indeed put your trust inside of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in the manner in which one should place their trust in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, like if you were to really put your trust in Allah Ta'ala upon the real way and upon the most complete way, naam, he says لَرَزَقَكُمْ, then he will give to you provisions, كَمَا يَرْزُقُ الطَّيْرِ, just like he gives to the bird provisions. Naam, he gives to the bird food. He gives to the bird provisions. Naam. Then the Prophet ﷺ, listen to the example. Listen to what he said. He said, يَغْضُ خِمَاصًا, that he goes out in the morning. He goes out, he gets out the nest. He leaves, gets out the nest in the morning time. وَتُرُحُ بِطَانًا, and he comes back in the evening time with a full belly. Naam, with a full belly. Let's look at this example, because this example highlights the fact that what حَثُّ الشَّرْعِ, that the legislation, it encourages us, naam, it encourages us ala at-tawakkul, to put our trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to put our trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is this is in addition, or is coupled with what? Al-akhdhu bil-asbab. It's coupled with taking the means, taking the necessary steps towards the facilitating that thing in which you're looking for. So as a student of knowledge, When you're trying to seek knowledge and acquire knowledge, then you have to put your trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have to take the means, just like the bird. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that the bird, what does the bird do? He goes out. He leaves the nest. What does it take to leave the nest? The bird has to get out the nest, fly around, go from this thing to that thing to this thing to that thing, looking for what? Looking for the food, looking for what they eat. But the whole time they're putting their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they know they have to take the means. The bird knows he has to take the means. So as human beings, then we have to know we have to take the means. Don't get outdone by a bird. Okay? Don't let the bird outdo you. So the bird knows you have to take the means, and the bird takes the means. So you, human, should know that you have to take the means, and thus take the means. Take the means to study. Take the means to read. Take the means to travel to seek knowledge. Take the means to spend upon the knowledge, spend upon the books. Take time reading the books, so on and so forth. You have to put forth the effort. Memorizing, sitting with the ulama, asking the ulama, so on and so forth. Writing. You have to take the means. It's not just going to come easy. Now, and it's not, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. But you have to put your trust in Allah Ta'ala while taking the means. So if you do this, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, then you will acquire something from knowledge. So it is incumbent that as students that we rely upon Allah, we ask for his aid, help, and assistance, and that we put our trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for every student of knowledge out there, every student, every person who hears my voice, we have to put our trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to ask for his aid, help, and assistance. And we have to try our best and take the means and take those steps needed to acquire whatever it is we are looking to gain. Now, so this is my advice to the students of knowledge. Hang in there. Don't give up. Work hard, work hard, work hard. Put your trust in Allah ta'ala and ask for his aid, help, and assistance. إلى اللقاء. Until next time we meet. استودعكم الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.